Hey.
Hey.
Hey. We just saw a movie.
Sure.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Josh.
This is our podcast. Guess what we did?
Hey, Pants Dance.
Yes, it's the podcast. Hey, Pants Dance. Not,
right.
Hey, we just saw a movie.
I know some of you are probably wondering, wait, I thought they were releasing stuff on Thursdays. And wait, it's Monday and they released one on Monday. What happened? Well, we're trying to move to a Monday schedule now. And, as you know, we got the dog. We have more responsibilities.
Excuse me, he has a name.
He's a dog. If we just say we got Benny, then people are like, oh, they had a kid.
Benny.
And just say we got a dog. And there's more responsibilities, more walks, all that type of stuff. So time is not as free as we had it. We can't just willy-nilly anymore. But we will tell you that we did see a movie, and the movie that we saw was in the movie theater.
Yes.
We locked our dog in a cage, as all children and dogs should be set in. And we left him with 2 fans and a sheet over his cage.
And
Or as liberals call it, a crate.
A crate.
That's where they put cows.
No.
They put cows and chickens in large crates.
It's his den.
Ooh.
Actually.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's his den.
His housing unit.
So technically, we now have a 1-bedroom den apartment.
Ooh. Upsell.
We can sublet it for
We're
more than
now
paying.
LA renters.
Yeah.
We'll sublet the den. We can start a what do they call it now? They don't even call them kennels. They call them daycares.
Yes, doggy daycare.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way behind the curve. I have to learn all these things.
A pet hotel.
I'm like a dad whose parent comes out and then doesn't know all the terms. I'm like, yeah, so you're the person. You're like, Steve? You're like, yeah. And you guys do the dating? Yeah. It's the same thing. Like, yeah. Oh, okay. No special terms? Except for it's the opposite, because I have to learn all these special terms. Because I can't say crate to other dog owners. They'll come after, or as dog parents.
Well, no, crate actually is the right word. You've been saying
cage.
cage.
Oh, cage. There we go. I don't know. So yeah, we saw this movie called Marry Me.
Marry Me.
And with
Me.
Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez, the great one from the block. I don't know what block, but she's from the block.
The
I don't
Bronx.
know.
Isn't she from the Bronx?
But what block?
There's more than one block in the Bronx.
It's just
I
the
thought
Bronx
everything
block.
was Jenny's block.
Oh, she owns the whole place?
Yeah.
I don't know if she meant Lego block or what she meant.
Right.
So yeah, that's the movie we saw, and we will talk about it later. But first, what have you been up to?
Oh, gosh, Benny. That's what I've been up to.
You have.
Taking care of Benny. Trying to keep Benny alive.
Everything's Benny.
It's more
All
challenging.
I hear is Benny.
we thought.
Benny.
This dog gets into a lot of stuff.
Benny.
We just said if we had known who he was, we would have named him Goat. So now
Not the goat.
No, just
but
Goat.
A goat. The A goat.
Now I think his name is, I think we're just going to go with Benny Goat. And then
Benny
our last
Goat
name.
Robinson.
Yeah.
He broke the dog color barrier or something.
But yeah, so it's been all Benny all the time. What'd we do? We took him. Did we take him anywhere this weekend? We usually do. I don't think we did.
We went on somewhere for a long time because we came
we
back
just
when
went
we
on
were
walks
tired.
and then we left. We left him home alone.
Oh yeah, we went on a long walk, left him alone,
Mhm.
and then we fell asleep yesterday, and that was it.
Yeah, we napped on the couch.
We finished some show though. Wait, we're not talking about shows. Oh, I guess we are talking about shows. I'll tell you what I've been up to.
Okay, what have you been up to?
Benny stuff, but messing with these here doodads. I tried to get another one. Michelle wouldn't let me.
All your buttons and knobs.
So
over
eventually,
here?
when I do buy it, I'll have to buy it for $150 more than I would buy it. But yeah, having fun with the doodads, connecting them up, making different sounds, learning it.
To be specific.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, watch the last episode. And if you know what we're talking about, then thank you for listening.
Can they watch episodes? Are they up on
Whatever.
YouTube yet?
I know.
Are we doing that? No.
I've been meaning to. Maybe I'll do it this one correctly. I was going to try to do them from episode 1 all the way up, but nobody cares. So I'm going to start from when I start. and then they'll just go up. It'll be audio with a little graphic, like Bewitched.
Yeah,
a little
but if
nose
you
wiggle.
want, you can listen on the YouTubes.
If it's up by now. But you can definitely follow us, so then you'll know. Ring the bell and kick the can and all that stuff on YouTube. It'll get up eventually.
I want a little graphic now, it's like a little foot kicking a can.
Right.
So like
what's that show you do, Josh? Kick the can? Like, no, it's Can I Kick It?
Kick the mic?
Yeah. So she said kick the mic. Yeah. She's like, because there was Drop the Mic that Sean was doing, and then I was doing Can I Kick It? Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've been up to. And then what
you rode my one wheel.
I rode
to make sure it works still.
Yeah, the range wasn't going well, but Michelle learned that on Halloween you were riding around with probably like 12 or less PSI.
You know what? I am way more impressed with my riding skills on that Halloween ride now, because that was downtown and some rickety roads.
It probably was for the best that it
with
was.
With a really wobbly tire.
It's probably for the best that you were on mashed potato tire, because if it was really firm, every little thing would have like. Whoa.
Oh well, I felt pretty wobbly, but
yeah, it definitely wasn't. It could have been firmer, but
yeah,
like 20 PSI would have just been too much.
I didn't fall.
That's true. You did not fall. Mm-hmm. Other people did.
Other people fell.
Yes.
Other people wiped out pretty good.
Didn't the guy who went over the dam fall too?
Probably.
In the chair, he slid off.
Probably.
But yeah, we found out when I rode it about a month ago or 2 months ago that it was at 8 PSI. I was riding it and I was like, it was like when you have a really bad stomach ache, but it felt like that in my feet. It was like, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And it was kind of like, oh, I need to get to a bathroom. But I was like, I need to get home before this thing kills me. I would hit a bump and I would just wobble for about 45 seconds. So I was really working my core. Yeah. But yeah, that's what happened.
Have like 4 more weeks or something. Still? Or 3 weeks.
I thought it was 5 weeks, like 3 weeks ago.
After my next doctor's appointment, which is March 7th.
Okay.
So I think that's 3 weeks from now, maybe.
Nice.
Then he can tell me, I still don't want you to ride your one wheel, but
I can't stop you.
Your bones are healed.
I can't make you stop one wheeling.
Because I still have 27 little holes in my arm.
That's right.
Literally 27 little holes. So many screws in my arm.
Well, at least somebody didn't shoot you in the foot like Kodak Black or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we've been up to. Music, dog, me one-wheeling.
Watching a movie.
Watching a movie.
A movie.
Yeah, we started watching Love is Blind, which Michelle told me is run also by the Married at First Sight people, which is kind of scary. So I'm feeling like this season or the next season is just going to go off the rails and be another dramatic freak show. But so far it's okay. It seems kind of normal-ish. But you know, it's kind of like, I think over time you start realizing tropes and you start, you know, sometimes you change as a person. So I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm not really big in the reality TV anyway. So I really like reality TV that is the least, at least seemingly, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but at least seemingly is not abrasive and not out to ruin people's lives to make money off of Amigo. So that's my goal in watching reality TV, is to see a decent amount of reality and not too much manipulation. But yeah, we're watching that. Bloods, if you on Hulu, check that out. It's about ambulance. What do they call it? EMS?
Paramedics?
Yeah, paramedics. Why don't they call it EMS anymore?
Emergency Medical
Services, I guess.
Isn't that like the truck? Is the EMS?
I think it's just the people, the EMS people.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
I've always called them paramedics.
I feel like it's another way I feel like I'm old. I don't know all the terms. Like, you don't say STDs anymore. You say STIs. I'm like, okay, I don't. Sure.
Why?
But I guess chlamydia is not is it a disease? It is a disease. It kind of hinders your life. That's what a disease is. I don't know, but whatever. I regress, literally.
Digress.
No, I regress. I shrink. I'm like, I don't know. Somebody's like, hey, that's offensive. I don't know. This is what I learned when I was 5, and I just been using that word. You can't call us EMS. I'm sorry.
Oh, Book of Boba Fett.
Bugga bugga fett. Bugga bugga fett. Bugga bugga bugga. Ooh nah nah. Bugga ooh nah nah.
We finished Book of Boba Fett.
That's right. We did, and it was a weird show.
It was weird.
We liked it, but it was like,
It's not really a Book of Boba Fett.
It's kind of like I told Michelle something to the effect. Or wait, was that the other Marvel thing? But Disney thing. But it's kind of like I felt like the Harlem Globetrotters were going to show up at some point. It was like a feeder. It's like a feeder show that just
like it was made to be a spin-off show.
Right.
Like
it was
for other things to happen from it. Like it was not the main point.
It was a show where a character that you liked got a spin-off, but then like every 2 episodes, the main character from the first show.
Right.
So then it's like, hey, Billy. It's like, ah. And the audience goes crazy because the main guy from the main show that they actually really like came on the show. And if that person didn't come every couple of episodes, people would be like, I don't really like this spinoff. Like Joey. Right. No one from the other show came on, so it failed.
I think this would have been better if it was a longer season. Like
it did feel rushed.
It needed more time to tell like actual story. Like if they had given him the focus, because all this
3 episodes or 4
stuff,
episodes was flashbacks, 70% flashbacks.
But that was all interesting, all the backstory. I'm fine. But then I kept waiting for us to get to the present and for him to like do something, and all he ever did was like walk around and listen to other people and say, "Yes, let's do that," or "Oh." Okay.
And then the last 3 episodes or so were all Grogu and Mandalorian.
Oh, spoilers, obviously, if you know the drill.
Well, we didn't tell them too much. I'm sure they know by now the Mandalorian's in it. But yeah, it was just kind of like, okay, well, that's cool, but I would have loved to know more, but it was fine. You know, it's not like I paid any more money to see it or something like that. It's not like it's not like I kickstarted it.
Fett, you know. You kind of expect.
Well, maybe it's a book of Boba Fett in the canon of the Mandalorian. It's kind of like saying, the book of Hezekiah in the Bible. And there's like, Hezekiah is a very small book in the whole scheme of the Bible. So that's how I feel like Star Wars kind of looked at this whole story. But yeah. It's
fine. Just in service to the Mandalorian. It was really like maybe Mandalorian season 2-ish. Like,
3?
Or 1.5? Oh yeah,
2.5? Yeah.
I don't know
that's how the math works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, and I found out this morning in the grocery store that Killing Eve is coming in a week or 2 weeks, something like that. And then we found out that around the corner, they are filming season 2 of Hacks. So I guess she still lives in the same apartment as she did last season, as she has ruined her career. If you haven't seen that show, definitely watch it. It's pretty good.
And I just started watching the new season of Dollface. And
is that pretty good?
If you haven't seen Dollface, you should watch Dollface. I like it.
I didn't like it too much, but I think you should watch it. Because no one's like me. I'm very unique.
It's a weird show, but I enjoyed it.
It's weird? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's weird. She talks to this lady with a cat face shows up and like drives a bus.
Yeah,
and,
I do remember that.
It's all very strange, and there's like surreal things that happen and then real things that happen, and sometimes you're like, what's happening right now?
Surreal real?
Yeah. But it's a nice weird little show.
Okay. Too surreal. All right, cool. Well,
moving on.
Let's get to the movie. Because nobody came here for us staring at our dog climbing under my gear.
Yeah, making sure he's not eating.
Because you can't see that.
Cables and wires. Okay. Well, we watched Marry Me, and IMDb says music superstars Kat Valdez and Bastien are getting married before a global audience of fans. But when Kat learns seconds before her vows that Bastien has been unfaithful, she decides to marry Charlie, a stranger in the crowd, instead. They tell you the whole movie in this, basically. That's fine. That was I need you to believe, Bastien. Bastien. Or Bastien.
Bastien.
As she said.
I need you to believe, Bastien. Yeah, that's, it's kind of. It's kind of like they would probably say something to the effect of like the Rebel Alliance tries to bring down the Death Star. like, yeah, that's the movie.
Well,
pretty
I don't
much.
have to do a synopsis because that was it.
Pretty
And then
close.
They get married and then things happen. Ow, Benny.
And things happen. Crazy things.
Okay, so I don't have like, my 5 facts or whatever for this movie, but did you know that Bastian is in fact a real pop star?
Yeah, because his name only had one word in the credits and whatnot. It was like
Maluma.
I was like, not Menudo. That's wrong.
No, it's Maluma, and he is from Colombia.
That's cool.
He is a pop, reggaeton, and Latin trap singer.
Latin trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Latin trap.
So that's all of the little bits I have on that. That's all. Except for it was filmed in 2019, supposed to be released in 2021.
Just sitting in the can forever.
Delayed a year.
Like somebody who ate too many tacos.
But since it was filmed in 2019, I'm surprised it wasn't planned to be released in 2020.
Maybe they just said this movie doesn't need.
But they did film it in November, so maybe they needed more time.
Oh yeah, if they
couldn't
filmed
get it out by February.
Yeah, they had a. There's work
It
to
would
be
have
done.
been
And it's not like it's high in demand, like something that's like we got to get this out because people have been waiting 4 years for this movie to come out.
So overall thoughts.
I liked
Did you
it.
like it?
There was it somebody in the audience?
Oh my gosh, the audience was a trip.
Yeah, there was some. I thought they were teenage girls, but I think there were girls in their 20s that were going all crazy. They were throwing their hands up and doing all this stuff and giggling like 12-year-olds over the sex-related stuff. They were like, but they enjoyed it. They weren't annoying, so it was cool. Yeah, I liked it. I thought that it's one of those. I feel like if it was a little bit shorter, it would be one of those like while you were sleeping type situations where I'm like, oh, I could watch that again, doing some other thing. But it was slightly a little bit long. I did feel myself at some point being like, wait, how long? When are we gonna get to the crux of this thing?
Yeah.
But I do like, even though it was that long, I did like the elements that they put into it. So I think if it would have been shorter, I might not have liked it as much because I would have thought it was too similar to every other rom-com that's kind of along this lines.
You know what? I had the same thought, is that it was too long, and I know where they could have cut time.
Tell me.
Did you notice how many full songs J-Lo performed?
That was in her rider.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's where they could have cut time.
That's
like,
true.
Normally these movies, they don't perform full songs. It's you get a bit of it and then it cuts away to whatever the next thing they're doing, the after party or whatever. But yeah, typically I feel like there's not usually so many.
Maybe they wanted to pull.
Performed.
Maybe they wanted to pull musical vibes or musical people or musical awards of some sort.
Yeah.
So they thought of leaving those in. Like I thought, "Marry Me" was a good. Like it seemed like it needed to be there because it built that tension.
Yeah. Like
for
once they
him and the
finally
audience.
performed the whole song,
him and the audience to be like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
is she about to just fall back into this guy's arms? This
Right.
jerk."
Yeah.
And so I thought that was good. But yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah, that was kind of the
different
crux.
thing. That's true.
And then there was the other song that was actually my favorite, the On My Way to You song.
I can't remember it.
It was the one that she sang at the school dance with the guitar. Anyway.
Oh, right.
That one was my favorite. I think, did that one get performed once or twice? I can't remember, but
yeah, because it was acoustic one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one they did the full song. And then the church song, it seemed like there was like a full song.
Yeah, the church
there.
song was really long.
Yeah. So anyway, I felt like the movie was a little bit too long and they could have probably cut time in some of those places. And then it would have felt, you wouldn't have missed any story.
Yeah.
And it would have felt like it moved a little quicker.
Yeah, because the church song didn't really do too much for the story. It was more so of like, oh no, I invited my daughter to this thing and she's wearing this outfit and like,
Yeah.
it was like
that song
silly
was funny because I thought, okay, they're making for
Yeah,
me that
yeah.
seems like they're making fun of pop stars, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Okay. But,
like I have a big message here and it's
Right.
tongue in cheek and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I don't know, because I thought, well, maybe some silly writers wrote this song, but J-Lo wrote the song, and then I started to think, Wait, is this just a real song? Is this supposed to be a real song or is this a joke song?
I think
like,
I think it's a joke song that she was like, I'll do it and get the money from it.
Yeah. But I'm sure this soundtrack is just gonna blow up. Like some of these songs people really are going to propose with that song, and
that "Marry Me" song is very earwiggy.
Yes,
and our friend who did some stuff, earworm, earwig.
Isn't earwig something else?
An earwig crawls in your ear though, but I think it's an earworm. Earwig.
Isn't it earworm?
Airwick. But hey, get away from that. Sorry, the dog was trying to get close to the recorder, which is not good. I'm like, MacGruber, no. That "Marry Me" song is it was like marry me. So say yes, so those are my initial thoughts about the whole thing. I think the reason why I watched this movie with you is because
I like rom-coms?
It seemed like I'll let you watch them by yourself. You know that. It seems like they are like J-Lo movies are hit or miss for me. Mm-hmm. But because Owen Wilson was in it, I was kind of like, it's like I like kind of the macabre, and I feel like that is like a rom-com. Like, what? I was like, how does this chemistry work? Like even as
with
Owen
Wilson
people,
and J-Lo.
Right? Yeah, as people, like,
right?
Like, all right.
I thought that too when I first saw the trailer. I was like, interesting casting.
Yeah, it's like when I found out that people were putting motors in Teslas. Like, oh, I need to watch that YouTube video. It's like it was kind of like that, but. I think they had a lot of great chemistry together. Like it didn't seem like, I know under the circumstances, like they led with, hey, this is a normal guy and they shouldn't be together, but they ended up together. I don't know if they would have pitched it a different way. If I would have been like, why are they going to love a rom-com together? But since it kind of set it up this way, maybe it was easier to do. But once I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, they seem like they have chemistry, and they seem like this could actually, like, in how ridiculous the idea is of her just being like, oh yeah, I'll marry some random guy in the crowd. It seemed very believable.
I was so surprised when you said you would see this movie because of that plot, that setup. I thought you would just laugh at this and be like, no, I'm not watching that stupid movie.
That idea is totally terrible and unbelievable. Like I was thinking about J-Lo's background, and then I think this movie is kind of making fun of herself and kind of making fun of like all the other, I would probably say, since she's a woman, all the other women that have gone through this, like her, Kim, all the other Kardashians, like all these people, Kaylee Cuoco or whatever, like all these women that have like, I'm getting married to this guy, I'm doing it on TV, or I'm doing it here or whatever, like being really out with their marriages, and then they don't really work out, and then they have to kind of publicly pick up the pieces. And so I think it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing with that. But I thought the other interesting thing is there was a tongue-in-cheek thing with like advertisers and with the media in general, because they had Jimmy Fallon
and Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, and like and the City National Bank, which I was like, where have I seen that before? And then yesterday I was at Trader Joe's and I looked out the window at Trader Joe's, and across the street was City National Bank. I was like, oh, those are the people, right? Because the whole tour was sponsored by them. Oh. And their name was like the first 10 minutes. Their name was like City National Bank. So there was definitely people in the legal department or whatever who were going out and scouting who would like to promote this fake tour and this fake artist in this real movie,
right?
Which is always funny. So there was a lot of metafication going on about. I think about J-Lo and about the business and all these things. I'm like, oh, I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was a cute movie. I might watch it again. But yeah, I thought it was cute. It was sweet. I enjoyed it. It halfway through the movie or some point, all of a sudden I thought, oh, this is Notting Hill. This is you've seen Notting Hill, right?
Yeah, it's just been a while.
Yeah. So it's
Who's famous?
Julia Roberts was an actress in the movie, and then she randomly meets what's his face? Hugh Grant at a bookstore. They don't get married, but it's the whole famous, not famous relationship thing, like normal guy, yada yada. And they even did the time lapse montage. Like in Notting Hill, there's that great scene where he's walking through the market and the seasons keep changing as he keeps walking. And so like he puts on a scarf, then it gets cold, and there's winter and rain and blah blah blah. And then it's spring. They did the same thing. I don't
remember that. When did they do it?
It's after he breaks up with her.
Oh, okay.
And then it shows them moving forward, like moving on in their life.
That's where I get confused because I guess it wasn't as strong. So I was like, wait, I knew time had passed. I'm like, how much time has passed?
It was not as well done. And I still don't know how long that time period was. But that I was like, oh, this is so Notting Hill.
Yeah.
With a few minor
So
details.
here's the question for you, since you're the rom-com expert.
Yes.
Because I felt that what I liked about this movie is that both of them eventually were in for the adventure, but also since she had so much of the high ground, she was willing to give up on her superstar life, and he was very much stuck to his guns about what he's willing to do and what not to do. And obviously he loosened it up a little, but he was just like, look, I have to be here for my students. I got to do this. I got to do that. Where I feel like in other movies, it's kind of like A Star Is Born, where it's just like, and obviously she wanted to become a singer, but she's like, hey, I'm going out to do a show in Tulum. You want to come? She's like, I got to teach some people, some kids, but I'll find a sub. And then she just like jets off and is gone for 2 weeks. But he was pretty much like, look, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. This is kind of like not me. And then the places that were actually helpful, instead of him, I guess, trying to build some sort of like acting career or whatever, he used being forced into getting into social media as a way to promote the math stuff and to promote math, instead of being like, oh yeah, let's like do all this hoity-toity superstar stuff. So I don't know if that is a usual thing in rom-coms, but I think that's the reason why I liked it, because he stayed true to who he was, and then she was willing to realize that there was more to life than just working all the time and to like superficial dudes.
Well, so there's the different kinds of rom-coms where it's like the more normal person elevates to the higher one, right? And then it's like makeover montage, blah blah blah, conform to the popular kids or whatever, lose yourself in it, and then that's the story. Or then your journey back to being yourself is more. Or
the Beatles movie we saw, where the guy got really famous and essentially became the Beatles, and then his girlfriend was like, you've changed, man, and then he just completely gave up his career. Like, that was annoying too. Where he was kind of like, wait, you just gave, like, who's gonna give up all of the superstardom? Like, you can do like Frank Ocean and put out an album every 3 years.
Or then you have the elevated person that meets the normal person, but to show, because you have to show their growth and their whatever. So that's how they do it, is they give up their like interview in Tokyo or whatever it is, you know, and then I'm going to go have lunch at the school, or, some earnest thing, which ends up on social media anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's to move that. The story along with the famous person is you have to be able to see that they can be normal, or that they can, find value in the normal life,
right?
I guess. So I did wonder, though, I was surprised. I was wondering which way it was going to go, because his hair was all a mess. His haircut was terrible. And I thought they were going to like spruce him up and zhuzh him and put him in the suits and make him be all fancy. So I wasn't sure which direction this movie was going to go.
Yeah. So do you feel like it had a little different vibe than other rom-coms that were very similar, or is it the same kind of thing?
No, it's just pretty basic rom-com-ness.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're not well versed in the rom-com. So no, that's good.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. It felt like between all the little things, I was like, all right. Because the ones I've seen, it's either one or the other. He becomes like super mega ultra cool guy, or she's like, or the other person who's famous is like, I'm gonna give it up. All I want is you. And I'm like, well, that's weird.
Yeah,
It's kind of strange.
Kind of toxic. He
and
just
I
grabbed
know.
something.
So yeah, we're back. The dog, whatever. Okay, so you were saying this isn't any different from any other rom-com at all?
I don't know. It didn't. I mean, it felt like a normal rom-com to me. That's all. It wasn't a bad rom-com. It just felt like it was a regular rom-com.
To me, it just felt like from the ones I've seen, it felt like an overabundance of actual caring to me.
Okay.
I felt like a lot of rom-coms, they're extremely going through the motions and everybody's extremely self-centered. In this one, I felt like they were both caring towards each other. He also wasn't. He was fearful and slightly insecure, but not insecure to the point where he's like, "Hey, bro, this is my girl." He was just kind of like, "Look, if you want to go back to Bastian, he was like, just think about it. Like, if you're gonna go to Puerto Rico and Bastian's gonna be there, like this, this isn't a good idea. Like, I'm starting to have feelings for you, but just as a human being,
okay,
this isn't
I'll give
best
you that.
for you.
I will say that aspect of Owen Wilson's character was a little bit different from a typical rom-com.
Yeah.
Because normally that's not really how that goes. But also, I expected the breakup. Okay, because the movie got going and then I was like, okay, I see what's going to happen, but how is it going to happen? Right? I knew they were going to break up, obviously. They were going to break up and then have to get back together. I knew as soon as they brought up the mathalon or whatever, that contest or the competition. Okay, obviously she's going to show up to that. She's going to miss something or do something to get there. We know all that's going to go down. But what surprised me was the non-breakup breakup. Like, it was very not a big deal when they broke up. Like, he was just kind of like, oh, I saw you guys sing together. Now I feel weird. You know what? You're just a superstar. I'm not. Bye. And I was like, oh, they didn't even have like a big to do about it.
Right.
It was just very basic. And I was like, huh.
The funny thing is that she was actually not heartbroken, but pretty sad about it.
Yeah.
I think that was the part about it. She was like, what? She was like, well, I thought we were cool. Like,
it actually made me like Owen Wilson a little less, or his character. I was like, oh, Charlie, come on. That wasn't. You could have done better there.
Yeah, he definitely overreacted in that situation because she gave no real indication. Because the Puerto Rico thing almost happened, but then she stayed with him. And then she met the daughter, I think, after that and whatever, as she was becoming connected with all of them. So there was no real indication that, like, oh, she's going to go back to Bastian. It was just kind of like Bastian kept hanging around, which, it's kind of like I think she even said that, like, we did a song together,
right?
And blah, 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 blah.
But they didn't even have, like, the whole conversation where she says, it was just a show. I had to, it's just a show, but, it doesn't mean anything. Like, normally.
She kind of did that when they talked about, because what happened was the Grammy thing happened, and then they were like, oh, great. And then they talked in the hallway, and he was like, you don't have to, like, this isn't that big of a deal, or whatever he said.
But even that made me not like Charlie, because he was belittling her accomplishment. Like, because she was she had already said something about, like, the men had tried to walk all over her or make her smaller than she was. And here he's telling her, these awards don't mean anything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if you're in that industry, they do and they don't. Like, it's still something as a kid or, like, someone coming up, you maybe are always dreaming of a Grammy. Right. And maybe you don't, it's not, like, end all be all, right? But it still means something.
But I feel like I think he came at it a very wrong way, because another part in their conversation was about how she was always trying to achieve this thing and she felt like she couldn't. And he was trying to tell her that she's more than all these things, which is true.
Which is true.
But, like, in that moment, when someone gets nominated for a Grammy, you don't have to go like, nah, it's not that big of a deal.
Anything.
Like, it's like, dude, that's not really the time to do that. You say that when she loses the Grammy.
Right.
You go, oh, it's not that big. Nobody really cares.
But that scene just felt all kinds of wrong.
Yeah.
And then
I don't think he was trying to control her per se. I don't know. But it seemed like he was being
that was in his jealous moment, because
Yeah.
Bastian had just showed up and I think he didn't know what to do with his feelings.
That's true.
And then he got a little weird and was trying to be all like, don't leave. Don't
Right.
forget about me. He was all in his insecurities and he got weird about it. Anyway, I didn't like that scene at all. Like, it just felt like it all was just wrong.
Yeah.
And then the breakup when he was just kind of left. He ghosted and told her what she... That's the thing, too, is like when people tell people what they should think and feel. Like,
Right.
That's what I think it was. Is like, there wasn't even a fight. There was no conversation.
Yeah, he just assumed.
Yeah. And so I think if there had been at least some sort of conversation, that would have felt a little more well-rounded to me. And it wouldn't have felt so confusing when
Right.
it split all of a sudden. And then I was like, okay, I guess now we're in the breakup era.
Right.
And now we're
But what
moving
I
on.
will say in defense of that is if you showed up on a fluke publicity stunt after she was engaged and seconds away from marrying somebody who was also of her own kind, you would definitely probably do some weird stuff too, or assume like, it's like we've all done that where we're, like at work, you're like, okay, this is the time I get fired. Like when they call you, like, hey, we want to
Right.
talk about blah, blah, blah. You're like, all right, let me pack my crap, and that's kind of probably how he felt. They're like, we did a
Right.
Grammy, and it's like, okay, I helped her repair her image. She had a fun time. Like, it's kind of like, somebody's like, I had sex with a black guy once. Like, it's like that kind of thing. It's like, I had sex with a random rando off the side of the street. It was fun. I got to meet his daughter and I got to dance with a bunch of 7th graders. And then I moved on with my life. But I just feel like that was him like spiraling. And I'm not saying it's the best decision, but it's a better and actually controlled freak out for the situation, because we've seen movies, rom-coms, where people freak out like over the tiniest things, where it's just like, you didn't get the hot sauce, and you're like, this is over. It is
and rom-coms are built on miscommunications and non-communications.
right. And they communicated a lot more.
They did communicate a lot more, and I understand the freak out. I think just for the writers, I feel like the scenes didn't work.
Yeah, it could have been stronger.
But I get all that.
But
You got to have the freak out. In
the sake of the character, it's totally understandable. But in the thinking of like it, like if somebody told me, "Hey, I'm dating Katy Perry," and blah 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 blah, and we had such a great time, but now she's doing a movie with Orlando Bloom, and I'd be like, dude. I don't really know if she's gonna come back. It's just kind of how I felt. Like, look, I hope she comes back, but they're going to Australia for 6 months.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Just like, I'm not saying break up with her, and I don't think you should, but I'm just saying if you get a text,
can you work remote?
Yeah.
Can you go with it?
I'm like, if you get a text, that might be the text. So yeah, on a human level, I agree. On a writer level, it's like, that could have been stronger, but yeah.
Okay, here's a semi-plot hole that I want to see if you remember it this way.
It better not be Michelle Buteau.
No, I love me some Buteau. I actually wish there was more Buteau in this movie.
A big Buteau. What'd she say? Thick thighs save lives. She posted about
Did I tell you
Mary J. Blige.
I did tell you her book. Well, she's gonna have a show now, Survival of the Thickest.
Mm-hmm.
I need to read her book. That is what it's called.
Hey, Michelle. She was very nice to me.
Yes, I enjoyed talking to her.
You talked to her? Yeah.
Yes, remember this was the one you forgot about it, and we went out to the bar afterwards when we were all chit-chatting at the table. Anyway, she was really
didn't
nice.
talk to me after the show.
Oh, no. I got to chat. It was the ladies at the table.
Ladies.
Okay. Anyway, I forgot what my point was. Oh, remember he was making a big deal about he really wanted his kid to get into the math club and like join the math club, and she needs to join the math club. But then at the end, the whole thing was they were making fun of her because she choked last year.
Uh-huh.
But she wasn't in the math club last year because he really wanted her to join the math club.
But she was
confused.
I think, wasn't she in a different...
Did she quit or something?
I think she quit. She was in a different school, I think. Because she had... Yeah, there was something...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she was in a different school. And so she was doing the math club at that school, and then she choked, and she's like, I'm out of the math club.
Okay.
And then everybody's like, oh, I wish she'd join the math club.
Not a plot hole. I just didn't catch all those details.
Right. So it's in the same state and whatnot. So those kids were all there previously. And we're like, oh, it's the choke chick. So.
Got it.
You're the plot hole.
I'm the plot hole. Sorry.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the plot hole now.
I'm the plot hole now.
I also liked that they didn't focus on the Grammy Awards. I thought we were also going to go to the Grammy Awards. I was like, oh, they focused on the kids. Good. That's all we needed. We didn't need more performances and whatnot. Because
the kids with the math thing?
Remember, because she had the nomination and the Grammy Awards were coming up. She's like, oh, Grammy. So I thought she was going to, I thought he was possibly going to somehow show up at the Grammys. I don't know. I'm glad that they kept it on the kids. Because once again, it's like, we have too many people trying to be celebrities. We need some athletes. So I like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Athletes. Sounds great.
You know what also was interesting is the fact that she ran to him, but he was it felt a little weird. I mean, I know she had said she wanted to be there, and so she was proving we're not so different. Like we can blend our lives. But he's the one that broke up with her, and so there was no I feel like normally it would have been his realization to get back together, and he would have made the grand gesture, but that didn't really work because he's the math teacher and he needed that. The competition was the whole crux of it. Right.
And that was his focus, was his kid and the kids.
Right.
But he also was ye of little faith. And she had the faith.
She did have the faith, yeah.
And
he wasn't really into it the whole time. He knew he was, but he was like half in, half out the whole time. Because he never really, I don't feel like he ever committed. He was like, this is just for 3 months.
I feel like he wasn't committed at first, and then he was, and then that was the problem.
And he didn't want to admit it.
He was so committed that he was like, all right, this is going to go south. I don't want to be. And I think that's why the wife, the ex-wife situation, like when you add that into the mix, then it makes his situation a little bit more believable. Because you're like, oh, he had a failed marriage. He doesn't want to have another failure. Right. So he's just going to take it on. He's going to take charge himself and fail it. So he can say, I failed it, instead of it actually failing.
First, yeah.
So she needed to be the person, the bigger person, even though it wasn't her fault or anything. And be like, look, this can work. I don't know why you're freaking out about this.
Right.
Like I got on a coach flight and ran in heels and paid a guy $1,000 to. I like that. It's like, what was he? He was like, ma'am, the bus doesn't go to this. She's like, I'll pay you $1,000. Like, all right.
Okay. She bought the whole flight, cheese cubes and ham sandwiches or something.
That's what it was. I want cheese cubes.
Who's gonna sell me their heavy coat on the plane?
And
she tried to buy someone's ticket while in line.
Right. It's like, I didn't know that was illegal to buy someone's ticket.
That's illegal.
Oh, I guess so. You've already put your name on it and everything. That's true.
You can't even change it.
So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I was like, oh, I guess that does make sense. Because it's not like a concert ticket or whatever. Like your name and everything is completely assigned to you and not really to anybody else. But I think the other thing, what was it?
Marry me, say yes. Marry me, say yes.
Yeah. Also, I really liked his. I'm really not. I know you're on the J-Lo train. I'm not trying to be on the Owen Wilson train. Mm-hmm. I'm just going off of rom-coms that I've seen, because usually, like I said, they're like, his whole thing was to protect, not always in the best light, but to protect himself and to protect his daughter and protect his students. Mm-hmm. And I really admired that, because usually it's just like some guy who's just kind of like doing whatever, and he's making the same stink, but he's like, oh, I run a flower shop that's open 3 days a week, and what are we going to do about my flower shop? And you're always trying to make me go to these events. I'm like, dude, you barely work, and you somehow have a 14-bedroom loft in New York City. Like, you have you can easily have somebody else pick up the slack at your flower business, where he had like actual real responsibilities. That's at least what made this feel better. It was not, his problems were not superficial. They were actual real
Right.
obligations
Right.
and things to wrestle with.
Yeah.
And I thought the funny thing also was, I was thinking the whole time when he was putting the corsage on her and all that, I was like, oh, nobody's noticing as they walk in that there's a superstar walking by them. And I know it's New York, but still, it's a bunch of kids.
I think, did they not kind of look over?
I didn't see nobody because I was doing was looking at the people
You're
walking
watching
in.
Extras.
Yeah, and nobody looked at them. Like I was like, oh snap, or I would have
That
like,
was so funny,
I would have
that
like
scene.
jabbed you and been like, yes,
Right. That was so funny when they got out of the car, and I immediately thought, you cannot wear that dress to a high school
Oh
dance.
yeah, that definitely.
As a chaperone.
It would be like, do you want to dance? Get out of here, kid.
Right.
Hey, you want to dance? Get out of here, kid. It's
This
like all
whole,
these.
I actually did like the school dance scene.
Yeah.
They so funny. They bent
the
over
Glee
backwards.
Club and
Yeah, the Glee Club, and they took everyone's phones. This is a phone-free
right,
school dance, which is a big ask from a bunch of teenagers.
right. But it was like, if you want her to come to this thing, you'll give us your phones.
Right, and then then the Glee Club sings as soon as they walk in, and she invites the teacher to play on stage, which was nice, and he freaked out. And dream come true situation.
I think that's the thing. There was a lot of little cute moments.
Yeah.
In there that was cool. Like it to me, it felt like, oh, even though this is a rom-com, the way that they directed it was towards like really meaningful things. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I was saying about Owen Wilson's character, about this, like all these things were meaningful things. They weren't like stupid, 100%
Frivolous.
selfish,
Right.
dumb money grubbing things. It was like giving kids a great night of memories of being like, we danced with, what's the character's name?
Cat.
We danced with Kat and she hung out with us and she came to the school like 14 times. And like, it was the craziest year of my life,
She
you know,
helped
that
us with our
she helped. Yeah. She came up with
math.
dance steps to help
Right.
us. Yeah. And it's like, those are really like actual human impactful things that aren't just like, I found love and now I'm going to, you know, both of us are going to move on with our lives and just completely shut out everything else, which I feel like a lot of rom-coms do. They just kind of like use their friends as props to find love, and then they just kind of ditch their friends until the end of the movie. Like they get advice, and then at the end of the movie, there's like a dinner or something, and then we see the friends. But that's
Speaking
just
of, we haven't talked about Sarah Silverman's role, Parker, the best friend.
yeah.
I thought that she was fun. I thought it was a fun character.
I think they're gonna come for her because I don't think she's gay.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that, but it was.
That's what we all have to think about now.
Yeah.
Who are they gonna come for? Like she doesn't really have brown eyes.
But I thought it was a fun character, and you know, she's loud and spunky, and
Yeah. And, you know, she was a great sidekick.
yeah,
Like, she did it well, and she was happy to do it, and she got what she wanted out of it.
Right.
And, you know, she's also the person to be able to say, like, oh, yeah, I was the one who hooked them up, you know? And
didn't she even say that to her? She was like, "This
I
is
think
all
she
because
said-
of me," or something
yeah,
like
something
that.
along that. But, you know, she could write her book or go on the Today Show and be like,
Right.
yeah, it was a crazy thing, and blah, blah, blah.
That was funny that when she gave the speech to the bus driver, and I was thinking, this guy does not care. She gave some big long speech about
Right.
love and this woman, and she came here and da da da. I'm like, just get to it. You're just gonna offer him money.
Right. Yeah, I think all the side characters are great. Like, I know Michelle Buteau's character was like thought that he wasn't good looking and was really focused on the business, but you know, that's her job. But she's still, it wasn't like she was, which sometimes happens in rom-coms, like someone's trying to sabotage you on your side or
Right,
whatever. Be like, you're too good for him or blah, blah, blah. Or he calls and then she acts like he didn't call. And they're like, did Jim call? You're like, no, he didn't call.
Right,
And
right,
like,
right.
I guess he doesn't like
There
me.
was no nefarious.
Right. And then her manager, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Her manager loved her, which was great.
Yeah.
And he wasn't nefarious either. He was just
Right.
like, he shielded Bastion from her. He scolded Bastion. He, you know, he was kind of taken aback about how this whole thing was going to work. But then he was like, all right, cool. Like, you don't want to wear makeup
He
and you
was
blah, blah,
rooting
blah.
for
Well,
them.
yeah, he's like, after he did the first interview, he was like, okay, we'll change up, or after Kat and what's Owen's?
Charlie.
After Kat and Charlie did that first interview, he's like, look, we'll move some stuff around so that your schedule is not messed up. Because he
Right.
saw like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing.
Right.
He's a smart guy, and I'm not going to manhandle this dude. And so I was like, oh, all of these characters, except for Bastian, are
But you know what?
decent
Bastian
people.
didn't even sabotage anything. He just did what he was doing. I mean, he sort of wanted to win her back, but he didn't like go to any lengths to like sabotage Charlie.
It kind of makes sense because I think he gave her a kiss or something, not on stage. And he's what, Latino? I don't know. So that is a possible cultural thing.
Colombian.
Yeah, so it's a possible cultural / like I'm trying to make a move thing. But you know, if it was like straight up white dude, I'd be like, yo, why are you kissing my girl? This is not a cultural thing. This is not even like this is not appropriate. Chill with all that. But yeah, I guess so. You know, he was making his move, but I guess he kind of thought that it wasn't going to last either. So
I have one of the songs running through my head now. It's just these songs that just burrowed into my brain. Yeah. They're so what'd you say? Wiggy? Earwiggy?
Earwiggy. Wiggy. But yeah, that yeah, I was glad she didn't go back to him either. Obviously that would be kind of weird, but I'm glad that she didn't go back to him in any form, because usually what happens is like they break up and then she was like, we were broken up or whatever. One of them goes, we were broken up, and one of them goes back to somebody. But she realized her worth.
That would have been a different rom-com ending if Bastian had learned something and changed, and then she learned and changed, and they grew together through Charlie. Like he was like the vehicle to help them get back together.
That would have sucked.
On accident. Yeah. That would have been a different ending. And I thought for a second maybe that's where it was going to go. Just because.
The Jimmy Fallon interview?
No, but just because it followed a very typical rom-com.
Got you.
Thing. So I
Does that happen? Where the guy.
We watched one thing where somebody, whatever it was, it didn't work out. It was some rom-com movie. I can't remember what it was, but it didn't work out. They ended up broken up at the end, and it was fine, though. I can't remember what it was. Some indie rom-com.
I think Bastian just learned at the end 2 is better than 1.
Yeah. Yeah. He was fine.
He seemed a little bit sad, but then the girls were like, don't be sad. And he was like, I'm not. I thought I was, but I'm not.
Masking his pain.
Yeah. He'll be sad in the morning.
Yeah.
When they're both like, hey, so we wanted to get matching rings. Can you buy us some jewelry? And can we go to the Louis Vuitton store? He's like, crap.
When they steal his watch.
Yeah. Or that. Or they do a flight attendant and he ends up dead. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how I felt about this movie. Hey everybody, Josh here. We had some technical difficulties at the end with a lot of clicking and popping, so we don't want you to hear that.
Jumping to end of episode as requested by Josh.
Last words?
Subscribe to our podcast.
Subscribe on Instagram. It's all the name of the podcast. Hey, we just saw a movie.
Send us a message. Send us whatever.
Send us
how to make our dog
send
less
us dog
crazy.
food.
He's trying to bite me right now.
Yeah, he's weird. Anything else? That's it?
That's it.
All right.
Oh, wait.
What?
Marry me, say yes.
No. Happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
I want cheese cubes.